Well, you never know what this being famous is going to get you involved with. I've actually been asked to go to the high school, so that's a bit put the fear of God in me. 15-year-olds. You know how complicated 15-year-olds are to keep engaged? I mean, most adults, I think their attention span's 10 minutes. I think 15-year-olds' attention span's about 10 seconds if you're boring as batshit, and they'll let you know. So I'm hoping the teachers cleaned out their lunch bags so they can't throw tomatoes at me and I suck. So today I thought I'd kick it up a gear and I'd get my observation hive put together, which the wife diligently bought for me about 6 months ago for public speaking. And I haven't quite got around to putting it up because, oh, anyway, COVID and crazy shit going on. But anyway, we're back in the swing of things. We're back public speaking, and I'm thinking if there was ever a time to try out the observation hive, it'd have to be with some year 10s at the Loxton High School. So here we come. Now, I had considered making an observation hive. I'd got a few boxes and some nuke boxes and bits and pieces and run around and made a few efforts. But of course, you actually have to have the jolly thing so the bees can't get out. Otherwise, it'll be a stinger hive, not an observation hive. The wife, who decided that I was less than capable at getting things cut in a square line, decided to go to the Man Lake City people. Now, I have no idea where that comes from, whether it's Australian or American or hell, whatever. I don't know. I didn't Google it. All I know is it turned up in my mailbox. I'll put it together, give it a bit of a coat up. But I'm thinking, just because I'm the bush bee man, I'm going to put my stamp on it too so I can pretend it's me. Well, technically it's mine now, isn't it, if I bought it? If the Man Lake people ring me up, remember it's on the front for as well. So I thought I'd put one either side. Now, the question becomes from the people in the audience, I thought I'd put it out there for a vote, but it might be a little bit late. Should I just put it by eye and put it in the middle roughly? Should I put the branding iron sort of by eye in the middle between the two clamps, or should a bloke get a tape measure? Now, while you deliberate that thought, I want you to all squabble amongst yourself out there, and then, you know, by the time you've voted and figured it out, because you're watching the show, it's already decisions been made. So I'm going to have to take one for the team and make the decision for you. And as I was talking about it, I think I've decided to put a little spot where I'm going to make the middle mark. So, yeah, that's my name too, isn't it? Middle mark. Look at that. Anyway, moving right along. Here we go. It's drunk. Come on. What's it doing? Start. I want it reasonably stable, so the branding iron. Look at that. I even found a tape measure. I was just thinking after all that big spiel and if I couldn't find a tape measure, it'd be, well, actually, I've changed my mind. I'm just going to do it by eye. But no, it's just here. Looks pretty jolly clean. I wonder if it's actually mine. Oh, she telling me the other day we're up to 30 bloody screwdriver sets or something. One a year, she reckons. I don't know, she's never mentioned how many tape measures we're up to, but still, it does look awful clean. I wonder if I pinched that the other day or not. Anyway, we'll use it, clean it a little bit, and maybe pop it back in the kitchen, and she might say, oh, did you buy me a tape measure? Or she'll say something along the lines of, oh, that's where my bloody tape measure's been. Either way, I'll be in front. Look at that. Ah, oh, such a well-organised workshop. I've even got a texter. So according to me... So luckily it's 500 long, so that's pretty straightforward. That's 250. For us metric people, that'd be 250 out of the 500. I'm not sure what that'd be in inches and feet and wherever else. I don't know, all the other cool measurements around the world. We're in the metric system, so I'm just going to run with that. Talking about the metric system, it's very weird when you're in a transition, working with your dad, who grew up in the foot and inches days, and he sort of had a weird transition between bits of bobs of us all, whether it was metric or it was foots and inches. And whenever we got talking about sheds, it was always feet and inches, and you would talk about how many foot the shed was and how many bloody foot wide it was and how many foot deep it is. And anyway, so it was a 20-foot shed by 10 foot rather than whatever the measurements are in metres, and I have no idea. And I even still say that, so that's kind of weird. And the other thing that I find really cool, you get talking to a wheat farmer, and they've got these wicked-ass machines and they've fucking wheat and grains going everywhere, and they've got these great, huge chaser bins and... Anyway, semi-trailer loads and crazy ass, and what do? They still say, how many bags to the acre did you get this year? Now, there's an anomaly because there's no bags in the paddock anywhere, and they're not even acres anymore, they're blooming hectares, because there's so many of them, they, sound silly to say how many acres you have, so... But it's interesting, isn't it? The past, it's odd. If you're interested about the English language, we're delving into the rhyme history, so that's got all to do with language. So if you're interested... click on to the other show and check out the other craziness that's going on. Anyway, moving right along. We're going to measure across and we're going to measure up and down. And If it's not perfectly in the middle, I do not want to hear any excitement from the audience, all right? Just a little dot. And what do we got? We got 320. 320. So half of 300 is 150. So that would make it, what would that make it? 160. 160 in the middle. So we're going to go with 160, a dot there. There's a bit of a cross reference, so 160 by 250, and there's the middle dot. We got our brand nice and hot. I won't put my finger on it to make sure it's hot because I can feel it's hot by the handle. Now this isn't exactly why we bought this branding iron. We actually bought this because the wife's got me organised making some cutting boards around here somewhere. On the cutting board issue out there, if there's still a fan out there that actually put an email in, put an order in for a couple of cutting boards, and that must have been a year ago, and with all the insanity that's gone on, I don't know where the hell the email is. So I haven't forgotten you, I just can't find out how to get in touch with you. So if you're still interested, please email me again, and hell, I'll give you, I'll give you something free as well if you happen to email me about 2 cutting boards, and we'll send you some of the cutting board conditioner that comes with it, and maybe even some lip balm for the cold weather that you live in. Ta-da! Oh, it's looking pretty good. Oh, I wonder who that bloke is, the bush bee man. Right, now I guess it's not be much of an observation hive if it didn't have any bees in it, would it? Oh, golly. I think I might have to address that clip. That'd be fun walking into the ag class and the bloody bees flying everywhere. Anyway, the hive comes with some little clips that I'm supposed to put in that hole, so maybe I better carry it from underneath there. I've had this little swarm that landed in my garden a little while ago and didn't even think it was going to hang around, but it's still going, so I'm thinking it needs to get out of the garden. We need some bees from the observation hive. It's a win-win situation, so, you know, why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Brum, brum, brum. Of course, we've got to sort the dogs out as well because they're in the way. They're a famous dog now. Right, so let's pop the lid off. Hello. Hello, everybody. That'd be right. Some slack beekeeper didn't even put a hive mat in here. That's how confident he was. Anyway, they're built in the lid, so that's all good fun. At least it means they're not starving. They're doing pretty good, actually. And we'll just smoke them out of there. Then I'll just sit that down on its side down here a little bit, so then they don't like being in it. And then we'll shake them out of that in a minute. I figure for a start we better clean the top of these blooming bars, otherwise it'll make a sticky mess in here. You're about to be famous, you lot. You just don't know it. You'll be featured on all sorts of places. Famous bush bee bees. So the idea of an observation hive is so they can observate things, of course. So they've got this jolly slide out window, and the plan is that you're supposed to put a frame up the top here with the queen in it. How many people would like to put money on the fact that we're probably not going to find a queen in this jolly box, but we have to, so if this drags on for a little bit, that's what's happening, okay? I just thought I'd just tell you what's going on. So if we happen to see the queen, we can pop her in the top. Let's see if we can get it off. What the hell happened then, chicks? It was a bit weird, they just suddenly changed tune. What did you do? She's not out here somewhere stupid, is she? Why did they just go stupid? Oh, you're not up in here, are you? I'm just going to tap them back in. Tap these bees in there a bit because they just changed tune for some reason. When you're working your bees and they make a weird change of tunes, it's actually either distressed or they've lost their queen's going a bit, something's going on. Sometimes it can just be the weather's changing, but it's always good to get a bit paranoid and listen to what they're trying to tell you because they can't actually talk, but when they sing their songs, they're trying to tell you something different. Right, so I think we're going to spend a minute and dig this stuff out of the roof here. Since I've already got my jolly hive tool covered in muck. Now, if you're doing this, I've probably told you this 100 times, but if you ever got brood bloody crosscomb growing in your roof, just be extra careful when you're pulling it out. Obviously, you be careful that, like just reiterating this back then, to be careful the boss isn't up here, so you won't want to crush anybody if there's no queen excluder between you and the top. But it's very important to make sure there's no brood up here, because if there's brood up here, then you really got excitement that the queen could be up here. If it's all just honey, you're pretty safe, generally speaking, but not always. Of course, the little darlings do have a mind of their own. This all looks like it's just honey up here. Look at that. That could be like our honey and honeycomb. I'll keep that. I might pop it in the jar. if you'd like some yummy honeycomb and honey that's actually together, click over to the website and check it out. It's very popular apparently, and apparently it's really good for you. A little bit of wax in your honey. It doesn't come out of the lid either, by the way. We cut it out of a frame. But that does look pretty bloody beautiful. I might put that on my own toast. Back in the day when they used to have bees in the skips, is it skips? I think they were like a cane. There was pretty much just a woven cane basket. Before we had frames and all the rest of it, they had to actually pick out the hives that they were going to harvest, and of course those poor jolly hives didn't stand a chance because they had to rip the nest apart completely. So we've come a little bit further than that, but hell, it's still pretty primitive, this beekeeping gig. Some people back when the Langstroth hives got invented and they had to transition from skips to frames, that decided that that was the reason why the jolly fowl brood turned up, because they used to actually, when they would redo a home, you'd actually pull the skip apart and obviously burn it because it was finished. And their logic was that, well, we weren't burning stuff anymore, so it must have been the reason why the disease turned up. Now, I don't think that's the case at all, but it's an interesting thing with humans, isn't it? As soon as there's anything that changes, there's always another problem that turns up, or there's someone else to blame. I'd be fairly confident the disease was there all along, but anyway, maybe it was because they got to live a bit longer in a managed hive. So you actually got to see the disease and never knew it was there before. Right, that's everybody out the lid. I wonder how many frames we're going to get in there. I think that's about 5. Anyway, we'll find out in a minute. Ooh, well, they're still finding some nectar, even though it's sort of getting very close to the end of autumn here. And they look like nice, healthy brood. Looks like the termites have had a bit of a go at the frame, but that won't matter. Just my luck, that ugly looking frame would have the queen on it, didn't it? It looks like a honey frame, that one. Oh, looks all very nice, very nice. Ladies and gentlemen. There's not many gentlemen's in here because it's getting into autumn here in Oz. So the poor old drone bees are a little bit on the downside, because the ladies, if they find, because the drones are really only kept around for spring and during summer for a bit of mating, and they don't really contribute too much to the hive actually, so they generally get kicked out in this time of year. The ladies go, well, you know what, we don't really need to feed any extra mouths. We can make plenty more of you next spring, so off you go. And the poor old drone has to sit outside on the porch, and eventually he gets bloody cold and, well, you know, probably becomes a meal for an ant or something. But I tell you what, that'll teach you. So don't forget, you've got to contribute to the nest, otherwise you could end up on the porch and you might be somebody's ant's dinner. A few little bits of pollen coming in too. I saw some yellow stuff here earlier, but 2 lots of orange. You want to hope that you see a few different colours of pollen. 3 different colours is really good, because if they've only got the one sort of pollen, it's a bit like us, you know, having lamb chops every night for dinner rather than mixing it up, you know. Everybody likes a chicken burger. So you want a bit of mixed pollen so it's nice and healthy for them. I can't see the queen on that one either. So we'll pop that in there. The lasses are wondering what the hell happened here. They leave these cool little gaps so they can run across and around their brood a bit easier. That's why I don't really like having a solid plastic foundation frames in my brood boxes. Plenty of people do run solid plastic frames in the whole thing. But me, I kind of like using a wax base, wire frames, a bit old school, especially in the brood box. I don't mind in the honey supers, though, you can do whatever you like up there to a point. But I just think down here, they can drill holes and run around, and I don't know, it just seems more natural. Hell, do what you like in the end, but that's what I like. Just making sure she's not there. She's not on that one, I don't think, but still. Keebers, come on. Just once in my life could just go easy, couldn't it? Show your face and say, hello, I'd like to be on display. She's probably still in the bloody shower, getting all tizzied up. She knows she's going to be famous, so she's just putting on her makeup. You know, I guess she's getting her makeup done. I mean, the other little bees do groom her and clean her up and carry her poop outside. Well, it wasn't that long ago, and I suppose there was the poor lad that had the job of carrying the king's poop outside, or the rich people's poop, in the little poop tray that was under the bed. That would have stunk after a can of beans, wouldn't it? Whew, tell you what, Golly gosh. Come on. So we got one to go. And then one for the top. And no boss. I guess we have to go and get something and shake her on the ground and see if she's out here. Don't shake your bees out of your box on a hot summer's day either. That's a very bad idea. Let me tell you that for free. Oh, yeah, see, there's a little bit of yellow pollen coming through here. So there's a few different colours. Right, I don't know. Now what are we going to do, John? Hello, anybody home? Where are you, Your Majesty? You just don't want to be found, do you? Of course, this is not completely ideal. But if you can't find the queen, sometimes you want to get yourself a nice bed sheet. Don't go into the jolly, what's it called, the linden press and steal your blooming good bed sheets. You'll go straight to hell as a beekeeper. Now, just to reiterate, I have never actually done that. I've done a lot of stupid shit, but I haven't actually stolen the bed sheets for this job. Go down the op shop and you can buy some cheap. Right, so we've only got a few bees left in our box. If you're doing this and you don't really even have to find the queen, you can just shake the old bees in front of the new box where you're going to put them and she'll run into the new box. But we actually want to find her for this project, so you can do this like if you're going through a box and you're really having trouble finding the queens, you can shake all the bees out of the box and shake them onto a mat, and then you usually can find her running around. We've got a problem here because where we are, if you are going to do this project, you're meant to have the sheet at the front of the hive and not at the back of the hive as we have in this episode, but we haven't got the luxury of having it in the front because we've got a bloody 5-foot drop off, and the bees aren't that clever that they can run up that, well, they probably could run up that hill, but I don't want them to. So if you're doing this in your bee yard, put your shaking sheet in the front of the box and not the back of the box. But anyway, the principle's the same. Well, we're just having a look, see if we can't see her here running. If you can't see her, well, then you're probably pretty safe. But sometimes she's hard to find, especially with some of the bit more wild swarms. She's not always that big. And if you haven't actually got a texture on her back, but of course this is a little wild swarm, so we haven't, well, I didn't even think they were going to live, so I didn't get too fussed about it all. But they have lived, and they're going to serve another purpose now, perhaps. I guess all else fails and we don't find the queen, and we go to the jolly explanation tomorrow when we tell the kids, find the queen, and they can't find the queen. We can say, well, you know, I don't know, what are you, blind? Well, no, I don't think she's there. Get all the field bees to fly away so we can limit it down a bit. Only be the nurse bee still running. Well, we've definitely upset everybody now. Right, okay, step 2, we're going to put our sheet in the front where it should be. Step 2, so we're just going to put the sheet basically on the ground in front of where the box is going to be in a minute. Then we're going to, hey, don't sting me, I know you hate me. Just right now I'd hate me too, I've stirred you up completely. This is not a really good demonstration of what you want to be doing, but still, time is of the essence. Essence. Time is of the essence. Well, it's looking pretty promising. They're trying to run to the entrance at least, and they're all going around the air hole here. That could just mean that they're after the brood that they can smell, but generally that's a good sign for the queen being in the box. I still haven't found her yet. So we have a couple of options. We're going to go through the frames a few times, but now that we've actually put the sheet in front of the box where it should be, sometimes you can shake your frames out in front of the box, and then I'll have to run towards the hive. And the fun part with that job is that even every now and then you still miss her, and she'll run back in and you'll go, goodness gracious me. So this is probably a very good reason as to why you should put a texture mark on the back of your queens if you've got a possibility to do it. But there's not that often that I have to actually catch her, but this particular moment in time we do. Oh dear John. Let's cooperate a little bit for the poor old bloke. Now, boss woman, where are you? It'd be too easy if she just popped up, wouldn't it? Got to be the grass. This here is why you don't do this on your good bed sheet, because it gets a little bit sticky with all this nectar that they're still ripe. If we don't find her, we will have to just come back later when they've settled down a bit. Well, I don't know. Of course, when you want to find the queen, you just jolly well can't. This is the principle anyway. You shake the girls out on a sheet. You want to do it where you've got a lot more room so you can shake her further away from the hive so she's got further to run. But we're at the point now where we're thinking we're not going to put the music on. We're just going to go away and we're going to let everybody settle down, and we'll have another go at it later on today. Otherwise, we've just created a mess. Here we go, we'll see if we're getting organised. We're on the run. Oh dear, the ladies have settled back down. We haven't had a lot of success finding the boss woman. Hopefully we can find the boss. Anyway, if we can't find the queen, it won't be the end of the universe. It looks cool anyway, this observation hive, but we'll have one more try and then off we go. Bum. What I used to say as a kid, poo bum wee. Anyway, it's going to look cool even if we haven't got her upstairs. Oh, there she is. Yay! Oh, come here. Here we go. Look, very good. Look at us go. We're nearly even organised, lad. Don't get carried away. Oh, come on. Come on, that was a small victory if nothing else. Everybody out the way, that would be good. Lock everybody back. Found the little wire clip so the thing won't fall apart while we pick it up. I reckon going forward for the next show, we're going to have to get ourselves some little handles that aren't actually on the lid. But it's a bit of a design fault, it is, because you lift it from here, which is actually creating a gap in the actual hive, which you don't need. So I figure if the handles were actually on the main frame, when you lifted it, the lid wouldn't come off. Hopefully the clips will hold it all together. And hopefully we won't have bees flying around the classroom. That'll be a head spin. I reckon if we get a few bee stings in the classroom tomorrow, the teachers will be unimpressed. So the idea, I haven't actually done this before, but anyway, I'm going to find out, or you're going to find out with me probably, because I think you're coming along for the journey. So the idea is you got your display hive, you've got a bit of a talk going on, and then you can lift up the door and everybody can see what's going on. So you get to actually see a bee live in action. Look at them, all them little tails wiggling, isn't that cute?